Huh? I mean, I should like figure out some way to hide like a little tiny disclaimer. You know, I am not the best Nebulous player. All opinions are unfounded and could be completely wrong. Something like that. Yeah, Neko Boy, absolutely. I'm a full believer in the 450 Axford plus a DD. Maybe not a rail. I like beam. Rail, one rail. I'll get into that later. Uh, and an E-War frigate is a good combo. Absolutely. One Axford, one DD, one frigate. I love that combo. My personal favorite would be a beam DD along with a. So I don't want to get too deeply into rails, whether they're good or not. Like that's a whole discussion. But I will say the point of them right now is to get debuffs out, and it's very difficult for a single rail destroyer to fire enough rail darts to get enough debuffs that the damage control team on the other side can't just fix whatever it happens to be. So, maybe two as like a tag along fleet, that would work for me. You'd be able to do enough debuffs. For example, if you shoot a plasma monitor, just as an example, with two rail DDs, eventually you'll score a critical hit on the generator, and that could mean that it stops firing its plasma. And that's huge, right? People underestimate the damage rails can do in the debuffs. Hey, Lucky Gamer, thanks for following. Yeah, and all rail keystones can do work, but it's a higher bar that you have to clear if you do something like that, because it's a support fleet. It can't kill anything. I mean, it can kill some things, but it's a tough thing to do. Is Nebulous better while drunk? Is anything worse while drunk? I mean, except driving. Okay. Let me get in there before I get kicked off Twitch and say I feel like most computer gaming could be better, with a little bubbly. That's all I'm saying. I certainly have fun. Not that we're imbibing right now. Saker comes in with Team 2 currently arguing whether or not they will cap naturals. Yeah, by the way, if anyone isn't familiar with some of these players, they are really, really good. We've got Wallace here, Puppy like writes the book on a lot of things in this game. Of course, we have Hunter, who's a complete scrub. I hope he hears this. No, I'm just kidding. He's good. Plus, Cheetahs never win. They're all really good. Internet Explorer, we've seen do work before. And I'm liking the fleets. Let's go through them real fast. So this is what I'm talking about, right? A 450 Axford. It's got the Stonewall set up. It comes with a gun Sarissa frigate. It comes with an E-War Corvette. They're going to be supporting each other. This is a lot more well-rounded than the single Axford kind of, in on its own. Are these rails? They are rails. Ha ha, we get to see some rails. Awesome. So this is a rail array being played by Hunter. Puppy is... What is this? What is this? Okay. Is this... I don't know. You got me. I don't know. It has defenders. It has auroras. It has a beam. I guess this is the... Yeah, Puppy absolutely trolling. Let's take a look at his CL. All right, at least this CL is built standard. Oof. You know what? I bet this thing does amazing. And then I guess this is a scout. Yeah. Does it have radar? Wait a second. Oh, it's okay. So this is a capping scout. Is it beelining for? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right. And Wallace, another DD group. Looks like these are beams. So we've got 3 beams. I'm gonna guess. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Some E-War frigs. I'm guessing. Yep. There's the first one. There's the second one, and led by a point defense frigate. So this is a close-in beam group. It's gonna jam its way up into beam range, and depending on the long-range radar. Puppy's cheating. Open your DC. Okay. I actually don't know what I'm looking for here. Is it the mount gyros? Is that what you're teeing about? I don't know. The radar, the C, it has 2. Why?
The enemy is securing zone
Okay. Okay, 1 parallax. Where's the other parallax? It's got to be another and a spyglass. Okay. So straight up troll. Wow, they sniped out that. Oh, it was a beam. Okay, that makes sense. So they beam sniped Internet Explorer's shuttle that was going to try and take B, and the CL handily dodging the 450 return fire. Let's real quickly get through the OSP side. A super weirdly built symmetrical line ship with 450s plus 100 and plasma. Ooh, I don't know if this player knows that that is probably not going to work. Maybe, maybe not. Internet Explorer, meanwhile, I think he was firing the 450 Acello, that along with Random Noob with another 2 Acellos. I believe this is the... Yes! It is, in fact, the Revolver line ship. Gotta love this one. All right, and then rounding out that is going to be a mass driver, a pair of mass driver. How many E-regs do they have? That's the question. 1. Ooh, not enough. A radar monitor and a scouting shuttle. Let's take a look real quick before the action really pops off, and then I'll catch back up on chat. I can see a bunch of messages that I'm missing. So these beams looks like they're charging directly into these Acellos. We can see right now there's painfully little long-range radar available for the OSP. Based on that, I would expect that this huge mass of ships drives directly through the middle, beams absolutely everything to death, and just drives through on to victory. I can see right now that already this fleet will have no problem coming around this corner, jamming out these Acellos, and making really bad things happen there. All right, let's catch back on chat here. Okay, the CL has double radars, 2 adaptives to boot. The depths of Puppy's mind is an enigma, indeed. Let's see if this... Oh, still managing to dodge all of this. I mean, he can build whatever he wants. He's such a good player. And specifically, we're going to see in action here his CL, which this thing is built correctly, right? I mean, no, but okay. All right. Well, actually, the VLS ones here. Never mind. I have no idea. It has no point defense in that. Yeah, Revolver Bulker, I'm a fan of. I don't necessarily know if it's good, but it is funny to watch. And it shoots a lot of 250s. Let's take a look at the positioning here. OSP has kind of a spread out position where in contrast, the ANS is going for a very, very focused push. It looks like they're going to bide their time by B and just kind of wait and see what happens. They don't have the point advantage, but the OSP is kind of staying back. We're going to have to see who decides to push. I could absolutely see this frigate destroyer group just decide to go in. I have no idea what this Axford is going to do. But, you know, unfortunately, this monitor, this long-range radar monitor, isn't in a good location. Maybe if it shifts over here. Yeah, radar, CL permaflank. I mean, its thrusters don't look too bad. Does it have a radar? Oh, it is a radar. It's fine. I mean, it has lots of damage control. It's got 2 reinforced plus a 3 reinforced plus a large. I mean, that's a lot of damage control. It looks like he definitely doesn't care about his thrusters for now. Well, it still gives the top speed bonus in all directions. I know it doesn't give the acceleration anymore, but... Oh, here comes a beam out of the Axford. It's already overheating. Trying to deal damage as much as it can to this Ocello. Oh! It's gone through and hit it at an interesting angle. Did that take out the CIC? It did. No orders for you, friend. This is one of the issues with the Ocello. Specifically this mount right here. From certain angles, you can so easily get beamed and taken out. And here comes the rest of the DD group. Oh boy. Just going to melt this from bow to stern. Yeah, it still gives the thrust, just not the linear acceleration, right? It's still the dodge drive, absolutely.
The enemy secured zone boxer.
I should mean the flank mechanic has changed. The drive itself still does what it does. And looks like return fire from the revolver line ship has taken out the beam on the Axford. I'm sure he melted it himself over half the way there. And we get to see this spinning and winning right here.
The enemy is securing zone Atlas.
The unfortunate thing about this is these DDs now have moved into an absolutely precarious position for the OSP. They're hidden behind this rock, but they're hidden in range. So if they try and move any way other than running away, they're going to get beamed by this destroyer group. Looks like these mass driver line ships are returning fire against these rails. Or no, they're shooting the frigates. As is... Oh, here comes a big volley out of the revolver ship. It's got one of its sides on. Kind of a little bit hard to capture everything that's happening here. There's fighting between the mass drivers and the rails. There's fighting between this 250 line ship, and looks like it's pummeling this DD now. In the background, we see several shells flying every which way. Looks like that Ocello did get taken out now. Yeah, so Neko Boy, what I'm talking about is the radar, right? It provides a linear thrust bonus, right? But it used to be that when you hit the flank button, you would also get an increase in linear thrust when moving in different directions, right? That makes sense, because if you go faster, you need to accelerate faster too, right? Otherwise, you'd hit that button and relative to your speed, you're actually accelerating slower because you have to go faster. Actually, it's only forward now. It used to apply in all directions. Now it's only forward. And yeah, angular thrust and what is it? It's like angular velocity, right? I think of the two stats. Angular thrust is how quickly you accelerate into turning, and then angular velocity is your maximum turning rate. Roll rate. I forget what it is called exactly. Yeah, there's stats for everything in this game. And space drag. Fun times. Anywho, back to the game. Let's see. Looks like they managed to take out this destroyer for the most part. Where's its CIC at? Is there a way to, like, only find the CIC compartment? Its CIC is up, so it should be able to... I guess it is trying to retreat, keeping its nose on. But it's losing a lot of modules here. The rails and the mass drivers are having a dukem fight out here. Where are they? Let's find Hunter. Actually, what are these mass drivers firing at? Is it still the destroyers? Looks like, yeah. Oh, they managed to kill one. Yeah, mass drivers actually really good at killing lighter ships right now. And the 250s coming in as well. So the ANS is actually being pushed back here. They did lose an Ocello and had another one burned very, very badly. There's no restores left on this. I think it's pretty much out of the fight. But they still have this 250 line ship at full health. And they're punishing these destroyers, really. And without those destroyers, ANS might be in kind of a tough situation here. We have the rail array, which is good, but it's not going to be killing stuff on its own. Meanwhile, the mass drivers, yep, still continuing to punish these DDs. Kind of an awkward situation for ANS. They might have bitten off more than they can chew, actually. Let's see what Cheetah's Never Win is up to. Looks like he's engaging the mass driver ships. These mass drivers, I mean, they're effective. I wish they had... No, wait. These are the 450 ones. The mass drivers are down here. Okay. So he's engaging the 450 line ships. Kind of a weird build on those. Let's see. Looks like the CL's been hit by something as well. An awful lot going on here. So the 250 line ship plus the mass drivers are engaging the destroyers. The 450s are engaging the CL. Oh, some missiles came out of the backpack Axford. Let's see if we can see what these do. Look like they're going to hit these 450 line ships. Did a good amount of damage. Hasn't put them down. This is a very strange combo, I have to admit. 450s plus plasma plus T100. I could see, you know, maybe a case-mated plasma, for example, on one side. But in this case, it's just these turrets can't actually fire at the same angle that the 450s can. There's a big limit, especially on the plasma That's its maximum, I guess, up angle right now. So the fire controller on this ship must be having an absolute aneurysm trying to get shells on target if he's lined up everything. I think we'll stick with these a little bit and see if he actually manages to get those 100 mil in the plasma to shoot. Meanwhile, OSP, they've gotten themselves into a good situation by dealing damage to those destroyers. The problem at this point is they're just completely ignoring these control points. And it seems that that's just a function of how few capping ships they have. They've lost all their shuttles, which means there's only the core fleets themselves left to go and capture those points, which is not a good situation to be in. I would suspect that the ANS team has done a really good job of taking out these shuttles. And here comes the rail fire. Gonna punish these already damaged Franken line ships. Looks like, is that another DD going down? No? So strategy-wise, what can the OSP do to turn this around? They definitely need to push. Instead, they're kind of... Oh. Looks like the 450 line ships have surrendered despite having plenty of life left in them. That's unfortunate. Yeah, they did have the Axford on the top bearing down on them along with the rails firing at them. But they're not too far away from pulling out of line of sight of both of those. They could have definitely moved and gone towards sea or something. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and say this is in the ANS favor, despite the fact that they don't really have chunky fleets, frontline fleets, in order to do the fighting with. But if the OSP team remain at this sort of standoff range and trading blows, they're going to lose the point battle before they have time to do anything about it. They're already outcapped 4-1. The time to make a move is probably about 2 minutes ago. By the time they move in and cap B at this point, it's probably going to be too late already. At that point, they'll be down by over 300 points and would need a 3 cap. And instead, that will bring them just to a 2 cap. Losing this player here when his ships weren't completely destroyed is kind of a gut punch to their strategy. But certainly, Internet Explorer losing his Ocello so quickly to those beams in the opening have drastically reduced their ability to push. Meanwhile, these Ocellos are kind of split up. That's not a good situation either. And really, because of that, what could have formed the core of a group that would go in and push, if you take these 3 Ocellos and get them fire support from the mass driver line ships, they could go in and push and capture B and threaten some of these other ships. And instead they're, I understand this one is basically dead. That's hiding over here behind a rock. But this is a perfectly serviceable Ocello that's just kind of hanging out. And you have, this 250 ship. This revolver ship has done what it could. It's being railed. It's being... So many things are wrong with it. Just crazy amounts of inaccuracy and reload time debuffs on this. If it spun around, that might be helpful. The thing is, I think a lot of its thrusters are severely damaged. No, just everything is on fire, burning to the ground. So maybe there's a little bit less combat power on this side than I thought. It's hard to push in with mass drivers. I understand that. Certainly, just the sheer mass of all these ANS ships in one place, and the fact that they outnumber the OSP, is a large part of the equation to why they're unable to push in and do anything. I mean, at the end of the day, you only have one frontline fleet coming out of the ANS, but it's being backed up especially by all of those E-War frigates. I would assume, really, the fact that they're unable to get good targeting solution is a large part of why they have decided not to go in and push. And unfortunately, their 3 capping shuttles were no match for the amount of damage and just really excellent hunting that the other team has done, killing all those shuttles, making sure they couldn't back cap so that all their points are safe.
The enemy is securing zone common.
Honestly, there's not too much more damage happening. I mean, yeah, the rails are firing for sure, but you know, they're rails without target locks, so yeah, I mean, there's kind of weird fleets on both sides. But absolutely, the ANS have gained the initiative. I'll put it that way. They've gained the initiative. The OSP isn't able to concentrate fire. At this point, they don't have enough left to engage a ship and kill it, really. And because of that, they're completely unable to engage this Axford or this Vauxhall, even though it's a throw Vauxhall. They can't do anything about it. Certainly losing this Acello early into that... well, really they lost 2, because they had one completely gutted and the other one was straight up killed by that beam DD rush. And that chewed into their ability to fight greatly. The fact that these ships were only kind of firing half their firepower at one time. And yeah, that was unfortunate. I mean, I would expect that these ships probably did not do very much damage. Yeah, they have restores. I think it was more the player just decided that his team wasn't going to win and he was being shot at, so why stick around? Yeah, it got the drives, but the thing is, nothing else was shooting them except the rails. Another prime example of how a ship that is already dead can, in fact, explode. I forget who. I don't think they were arguing with me, but someone said, oh, it's dead. It can't explode, right? Nope, it can. I mean, yeah, you could easily bring this back based on the number of restores. I think they just didn't want to. uh Yeah, I mean, no offense to this player, but I would definitely say that this kind of mix of weapons is not the best for use. I'm not saying that having them on both sides is bad. I've seen ships that bring that, but they don't bring the plasma and the T-30 turret version. Just they they can't really fire at the same angles, so it's really really difficult for a ship like that. Are shuttles all or nothing? In my game, rocket shuttles either win us the game or accomplish nothing. Uh, that's a tough call. I wouldn't say they're all or nothing. I mean, if you want to kill a battleship with them, yes, they're all or nothing. You have to have, 5, probably better 6,
The enemy is
fully
securing
rocket
zone
kitted
points.
shuttles before you have a decent chance at killing a battleship. But outside of that, if you get close and fire at an arc that doesn't have a whole lot of stone walls, you can easily kill an Axford with a pair of rocket shuttles. If you get close and make sure that all those rockets fire on target at the same time, they'll go through and they'll gut an Axford, no problem. Then you also have the fact that you can cap points with them. So you can put in, 4 shuttles. Um, how many points would that be? Probably like 1,000 points, right? Something in that ballpark. So take a cellar or something, and 4 or 5 shuttles armed with rockets, and try and dump something. And if the dump doesn't work, you can always run them around to a point and cap something. So they're definitely not bad
The
in
enemy
that
is securing
capacity. I
zone
would say the
points.
minimum amount you need to engage something, even like a light cruiser, if you want the rockets to hit and succeed, is to take 2 shuttles and dump everything. I'm hugely not a fan of, oh, I caught a ship, let me fire 16 rockets at it. No, 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 no. In my opinion, it's dump or nothing. Yeah, so I mean that would definitely be like an all in. And I'm sure that build loses too, right? If you run into if you pop up on radar and they have like CLs or gun frigates or something, there's no way you're going to be able to dump a pair of rocket shuttles into anything and kill it. Heck, you could probably get the jump on an Axford, and if you happen to be in its Stonewalls arcs, like those rockets still aren't gonna, you know, do good work. So I understand why people might have the opinion like, oh, rocket shuttles are all or nothing, but in my opinion, you don't have to do that. I mean, it wins hard or it loses hard is kind of the argument to be made against all missiles, right? Not just rockets. Uh, Containers, especially, right? I've seen containers do legit 0 damage because not a single one of your container, not a single one of their like 210 point uh, containers get through. So the the big difference I'll say between the rocket shuttles and normal missiles are normal missiles a lot of the time it's like it's on the enemy's plate if they bring the proper point defense or not, or they group up and yada yada yada, right? If you take rocket shuttles, it's a lot more on you to get the ambush off and to get in range and fire the rockets. So I will say there's a big difference there. you know Even with cruise guidance, there's only so much you can do, and a lot of times where player skill enters the equation if you're firing missiles at target ships. Yeah, that's absolutely true, Neko Boy, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of the size of missile dumps and like how they work. Yeah, exactly, Saker. I'd agree with that 100%. I will say I understand where the all-in like mindset comes from because ooh, another explosion there. In some cases, it absolutely is true. Like, if you don't all in with shuttles, then they're not going to get through. But that's, if you decide to charge a battleship open field at 4 kilometers, it's a lot more on you than it is on them, right? In my opinion. So, all right, GG, well played. ANS victory. So one thing I will point out in games that have very skilled players on a team, just look at how many ships they manage to keep alive. I think that's probably the defining difference between like a mid player, myself included. I'm very bad at this. And like really, really good players. The really, really good players have the knowledge and like the game sense to keep their ships from being killed, even if they take damage. And that's, very, very important in this game. Yeah, rip. Rip, IE. Yeah, that was a case, not just the fact that he fired a beam. It was that he hit at that specific angle and cored out the CIC. I don't have a good solution for that on the Acello. It's like if you put it on the top, then you can have that happen when you get hit from the side. There's like the 3 rack in the middle. If you put anything there and you get hit broadside, like the same thing can happen. If you put it on the bottom, it's less likely that you get one shot from the side, but it's more likely that someone from underneath you will shoot something and it goes directly up that angle. Like it hits a very broad armor panel and it will just go in and wreck the CIC. I've seen that happen so many times. I hear some people do like a backup auxiliary, I think, in the upper area up here sometimes. I mean, it's just one of the weaknesses of the Acello. They're absolutely not as tough as an Axford, despite what some people will say. All right, let's see if we can get... Yeah, the mid slots are kind of safe as long as you don't get hit in the side. If you get hit in the side, that 3 stack is the very first thing that dies.